Mrs. Amy Tozzolino. She is our animal science teacher at Harkness, and I can see she has her little Penny pup there. So she's going to talk to you guys about animal science. If you have any questions, type them into the chat, and we'll make sure to answer your questions as they come up, okay? So without further ado, Miss Amy Tozzolino.
Hi guys, welcome. As Miss Fusco had just spoken to you about, I am the animal science instructor here at Erie One BOCES. I have Penny with me. She is one of our class mascots, and I'm really looking forward to sharing some information about our program with you. So a little bit about our program. I'm going to go through just a quick presentation, so then I have lots of time to answer any of your questions at the very end. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys, if that's okay. To talk about animal science. So this is a very popular program here at Erie One BOCES. We go through a wide range of careers related to animal science. So one of the biggest things that happens is that everyone in my class, they're interested in animals. They're wondering, what can I do with this love of animals? What are the different career options that are out there? And the answer really is so much, so much. So in our class, we basically investigate all of the different types of careers that you can experience in the animal science field. So that includes grooming, animal handling, and management, first aid, preventative care, and veterinary care. So in our classroom, you get hands-on experience working with the animals. What we do is at the very beginning is we talk about safety and sanitation. We learn how to safely take care of the animals, the diseases that the animals can get, and then we also talk about how those diseases can be treated. So there's a combination of both in-class learning and also in lab learning. So some of the students that have finished my class have gone on to pursue education in the veterinary field. So this class actually is a college credit class, and you can get up to 7 credits at Medaille College. You can also get credits at Alfred State and at College. I have students right now that have gone on to go to vet school. I've had many students that have gone on to veterinary technology programs. I have students that are working at grooming hospitals and have also have gone on to the zoo program at the Buffalo Zoo for their senior year. I also have students that are now in a brand new program. It's a SUNY school at Cobleskills. It's the very first university in the entire nation that has a bachelor's degree in canine biology, behavior, and training. I have students that have gone on to Morrisville State that have concentrated in equine science and farriers. And I have had every single year, my students have been hired in one of their veterinary or animal science programs while doing their internships. So everyone locally in the area is really familiar with the program, and it's really helped a lot of students kind of explore the different types of positions that they have in our wonderful career. So we talk, some of the information that we talk about listed here. I'm going to just briefly go through them with you. We have safety, animal husbandry, which is raising these animals, the nutrition, which is very important in keeping these animals healthy. We have to know all of our dog breeds, feline breeds, their vaccine protocols and the diseases that they can get. We also learn about exotics and lab animal science, and the farm industry. We learn about anatomy and physiology. And in year 2, it's actually a veterinary science class. And so we learn about all of the diseases that we learned about in year 1. In year 2, we learn how do we treat them? How do we test for these diseases? So we learn about anatomy and physiology, medical terminology, surgical nursing and anesthesia, preventative care, immunology. And you you will then continue on to experience your choice some of these different contents in the clinical setting. So I have students that I place on internships. We call them work-based learning experiences. So they get to go and actually see veterinary procedures done, veterinary surgeries. They get to actually work with trainers, or they learn advanced grooming skills. And I have several students that are also working at some of the pet supply stores. So, whenever I talk to students and whenever I talk to parents, a lot of times they're wondering, well, what are all of the things that we can do? And what's the future, the outlook for this job? And the answer is it's our industry is booming. Even during these very hard times, I'm sure some of you guys are probably familiar with everything shutting down during the COVID times. One thing that increased was the animal industry. We started clearing out all of the pet shops, all of the rescue groups, and the SPCA's. We meaning everybody who loves animals cleared these facilities out, because even no matter how the times are, we really look to these guys to bringing us happiness and joy. And the veterinary field is in and of itself essential workers, so they've never closed down. They're actually currently looking for a lot more help. With everybody that adopted these new puppies and kittens, they're now looking for people to help take care of them. And the pet industry is also looking for people to help them with supplying some people with these all the things that we need for their husbandry. So the pet industry actually increased 26.7% this past year. The animal supply industry is a $4.7 billion industry. The veterinary industry itself is over 100 billion. And in large animal practice, because we do talk about large animal practicing and farming, that industry, according to the United States Department of Agriculture, was over $100 billion nationally. So if you're looking about, what can I do with this? The answer is there's just so much. So much, in fact, that I feel like it's even difficult for us to pack it into 2 years, but we have a lot of fun doing it. So talking about some of the clinical experiences and hand-on experiences that you're going to be learning, you guys learn how to use the microscope. And you can see kind of in my background right now, I have students in the background right there. They're actually learning how to suture. So they're learning how they can place stitches in animals in our wound and hemostasis lab. We use synthetics, so don't worry, and bananas. We use synthetics, but we also use live animals as well. So we have microscope clinical skills where you guys are going to be working with real blood, real urine, and making real blood staining cytologies, ear cytologies, skin scrapings. Everything that you do at a veterinary hospital, you'll learn to do actually in the animal science classroom. You'll be using an ophthalmoscope, stethoscope to listen to the heart and lungs, an otoscope to evaluate normal versus abnormal ears. And you learn to triage, which means looking at the overall health of the animals and also performing CPR. You're going to learn how to take a temperature, pulse, and respiratory rate, capillary refill time. All of these things that sound fancy to you right now are going to be regular everyday words that we use in the classroom. You'll be able to run parasite identifications, which is doing stool samples, looking for internal parasites as well as external parasites. And yes, you can bring in your own animals. So here on the bottom, we have grooming experiences. So at Erie One BOCES, we can't always bring in a full veterinary hospital into the building, but what we can do is bring in a grooming clinic. And grooming clinics are actually a wonderful experience. Again, a huge part of the animal science industry, But even if we're interested in the veterinary field, it's really important that you guys learn how to assess animal behavior, how to restrain animals, how to safely lift them onto exam tables and off of exam tables. And another way for you guys to really learn these handling experiences are through this grooming clinic. So it gives you a really great experience. We do that every Friday. We bring in live animals, and you get to even bring your own pets in too. So throughout the units, whether we have the canine unit, the feline unit, the exotic unit, if you have a ferret or a bunny, you get to bring your animals into class too. And you get to experience some of the skills that we have on the actual live pets and through physical exams. So across the curriculum that you'll see as you visit lots of classes today is that we are going to be also working across other curriculums, which means that you, in addition to taking my class, you are also going to gain ELA credits and math credits and science credits. So the animal science curriculum includes certification for ELA, math, and science that can be transferred over towards your diplomas at your home school. So the ELA, I do have to say that the ELA assignments that we do have are all going to be geared toward animal science. So for instance, the papers that you're going to be writing or the quick writes are going to be about topics that we're covering in class, which is, for instance, my juniors just finished a paper on writing about one topic of animal rights and welfare that they thought was really important to them. So some students wrote on whether or not they think that horse racing should be outlawed, whether declawing should be outlawed. So these ELA integration is going to be stuff that's going to be interesting to you because it's going to be of or relating to the animal field. Again, the math in animal science is going to be included in parasitology, clinical blood counts, so counting red blood cells, white blood cells, trying to determine veterinary dosages, heartworm prevention dosages, the amount of food that needs to be given in each different life stage, whether they're a puppy or a kitten, determining feed stocks for large animal practice. And then we have science, so very much, biology, anatomy, physiology, zoology, and of course, some of our career and technical education classes, which are getting you guys ready to apply to schools. It is definitely a very specific pathway if you're looking to apply into veterinary pathways. There is something called pre-veterinary program that you would need to be applying to and kind of investigating what type of program you want to go into, and that really depends on what type of animal science content that you're interested in. So for instance, some schools are better for equine science, some are better for bovine cow science, some are better for large versus small practice. And I work with you guys for throughout all of that. We also learn about how to get your resumes prepared and to interview for some of these positions. So giving you a sneak peek, this is the fun stuff. This is kind of my background that's floating in, behind me as well. This is what our classroom looks like. We actually are pretty lucky. The animal science has, depending on, it doesn't really matter which clinic that you're going to be going into, whether it's at the Kenton Center, Potter Center, or the Harkness Center, we all have very big classrooms because we need room for the animals. So this is the Harkness Center. This is one of 3 rooms that we work in. This is our clinical lab. As you can see, we have all of the exam tables set up for my students. Right here, these are my seniors. So the seniors work mainly on the veterinary science pieces. So they are learning how to suture, which is a fancy term for placing stitches. They're working on a banana, but believe it or I know, believe it or not, it's fantastic because the banana peel will bruise just like the regular skin will. So if they're pulling the stitches too tight, it will pull through like regular skin will. And if they don't have a careful technique, it will bruise like skin will too. You also learn how to give injections, IV injections. We have, that's all on simulation skin. So it's basically a big, rubber piece of flesh that is very lifelike. We have lots of dissections. So we dissect a sheep heart, a cow eye, chicken wings, a whole fetal pig. And of course, if that's something that you're not interested in, we have virtual simulations on that if you think that that might make you a little bit queasy. And of course, we have our grooming. Yes, we do dissect the pig. And we do have, if you see in the back here, these are our grooming tables. So these grooming leads go onto all of the exam tables. So these all turn into grooming tables. We also have a hydraulic lift in the back for some of our bigger animals. And so, I mean, I really could talk more than half an hour about all the great things that we do. It's a lot of fun. This is an example of the clinical skills that we go through. You do have an exam at the end, and you take an exam. You have to identify this right here happens to be a whipworm sample. So you have to identify whipworm, roundworm, hookworm, and tapeworm. Those are the 4 most common intestinal parasites of animals. So we have slides that you have to kind of search for on that. This is a blood typing lab that the kids have a lot of fun with, one of many that we have. This is little Lola. She is a regular at our grooming clinic. This is the second room that we have in our wing. So you get to wash, we groom every Friday, and you can also groom your own animal. So we do this because it really helps you, whether you're interested in the veterinary field or grooming, understanding how to work with the animals, understanding how to be patient with them, and how to lift them, making them feel safe and secure as a team is something that we work on every day. This is Penny. You can kind of see her here. She keeps erasing a little bit there too. I'm not sure if anyone knows what she is or if you can tell what she is, but she's a long-haired Chihuahua. She's very sweet. She's a little angel. So she's got her little angel wings on here. She's in class every day with us. At the other locations, everybody has 2 dogs, so you have 2 dogs there every day, and then you can bring your own. You have a sign up just to bring your own animals in too. If we're going to work in the animal science field at BOCES, we like to give you the experience of what it's like in the clinical setting, and we can't teach animal science without the animals. So we do have them every day. We've had, we have cows and horses that we have brought onto the campus as well. We brought in, my student brought in her horse. We paint the skeletal system on the outside of the horse as part of our anatomy program. That's Mowgli. He's my bull mastiff. He's there every day as well. These are 2 mannequins that you guys learn how to do jugular sticks on and how to do sternal and lateral restraint on. So that's him in the background. He kind of mixes in with our little mannequins there. He's a very sweet boy. He's probably the easiest dog you can ever restrain. He gets restrained hundreds of times a year. And then when you do your finals, he usually falls asleep by the end. So it's really kind of hard. We have to keep kind of waking him up so you guys can work on him. Taking you out of the classroom too, we have quite a bit of field trips. This is a Cornell outreach. You can hear my bird squawking in the background, excuse me. We have the farm lab. This is actually a lab that is a Cornell outreach lab that is located in Lancaster. And my students have the opportunity to give injections. These are all my Animal Science 2 students. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but that's just applying some of those synthetics that we did in class. They are basically vaccinating these animals. You cannot vaccinate dogs and cats in New York State without being licensed, but you can with farm animals. So that's why we take you guys to the lab. These guys are actually good at getting vitamin B injections. Here we have some kids that are in the classroom, actual kids, but on top of them, that's the name for a baby goat. So we've got them here. We also have a couple of rabbits. Getting into the nitty gritty, this is a college credit class. So it is a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun work. You get up to 7 credits in Medaille. That's a lot of college credits. That's actually worth dollars. So it's their Vet 100 class, their Vet 177 class, and their Vet and you get their vet elective class because they've analyzed our curriculum. We do so much that it covers 7 credits of their classes. We also have an articulation agreement with Alfred State College and SUNY Morrisville. SUNY Morrisville is known for their equine medicine. So some of my horse people go there. Alfred State has a really great dairy program. Cobleskill actually has a really great beef program as well. Little special note, and I'm going to let you guys ask me some questions. You have to be up to date on tetanus vaccines. Students with animal allergies should talk to their families and physicians before they come in. I can protect you from a peanut allergy, but I can't protect you from a dog allergy in this class. Unfortunately, the dander gets everywhere. So that's me kind of trying to pack in as much as I can in this time. Does anyone have any questions for me? I would love to answer them for you.
So I know I'm not muted, and we said, put your questions in the chat box. If you're comfortable, you can go ahead and unmute and ask your question because it might be longer than you want to type. But I actually kind of have a question, Ms. Tozzolino.
Sure.
So when a student is looking at your program and saying, I think this is for me, what is like one standout thing that you could think of other than being like, a student that wants to be in the program that would help them, like a quality that they have that might be something that would help them better get through the program?
I think really is you really have to have a desire to be there. This is a pretty intense program in that a lot of people want to get into it, and it has a really long wait list. So I always tell people, make sure that you really want to be here. An indicator for what we do in this program is living environment. So if you found yourself academically, I would say it's along the same lines of your living environment class, but easier. The reason it's easier is because we're talking only about something that you love.
Right.
And that I think is what makes all of the difference. When you guys are in a regular program, in high school, you're with the same people throughout kindergarten on through high school. I can tell you, I've taught living environment, I've taught chemistry. Kids aren't always happy to learn chemistry. They're not always happy to learn biology. I can tell you that they're happy learning about dogs. They're happy about cats. It makes it seems like it's a scary subject because I talk about all those fancy things that we do, but it really is a lot easier than what you think because you're learning about something that you're interested in. And because we work together and all of a sudden for the very first time in your life, you're not just with the people you've been with since kindergarten. For the first time in your life, you're going to be experiencing what it's like to be with other people who have the same interest as you. And
right, like a college campus.
Like a college campus. You guys are all taking a class that you're interested in. All different personalities, certainly, but it makes learning a lot easier because it's something that you're interested in.
I love that, 100%. Does anyone want to hop in with a question or want to type a question?
Well, I see that Jade had a question there.
Oh, go ahead, honey.
You know what? I'm sharing my screen. So could you read that for me, please?
Let's see. It didn't get typed. I don't think it got typed. It might have went just to you, Ms. Tozzolino.
Okay. I think if I caught you right, Jade, you were asking about you're interested in dog training. Fabulous.
Yes, that's correct.
There we go.
Perfect. Yes, thank you. Fabulous field, growing field. Nice to meet you. I've got to tell you, this is a really exciting time for the people who are interested in dog training and dog ethology. Ryan, the class is a 2-year course. So it's your junior year and your senior year. So with dog training, it's pretty fantastic because our industry is booming at such a high rate that we have now expanded into programs such as Cobleskill. So that is a 4-year bachelor program just on dog training. And you take your basic undergrad courses, but all of your other lessons are just learning the psychology of dog, the taxonomy of dog, the domestication of the dog. And I've got to tell you, most of your human psychology is come from animal psychology as well. So it's really an amazing program. And I've got to tell you, that's an exciting thing for field to be interested in right now, because there are so many locations, even in Buffalo, that you can work at while you're, preparing for that jump. So many training programs and certifications now for animal behavior. And that's kind of goes along with that training. So that's an exciting time for you.
Okay, thank you.
Great question.
Yeah, no problem. And so, yes, this is a 2-year program. You have your junior year, which is mainly going to be animal science, your senior year, which is going to be veterinary science. And there's a really exciting opportunity for you guys too. People who are interested in zoology. So the zoology program is a 1-year program that you can enter into your senior year. And that's going to be for people that are more interested in ecology and zoology. So it's called Zoo Conservation and Careers. That is a program, if you think back to your high school living environment days, ecology, that was actually a Regents test question, is the combination of biotic and abiotic systems, which means the living environment, which are your animals, and the non-living environment, which is where they live. So that is really nice because you learn about biomes, you learn about vegetation, you learn about nutrition, but you're going to be learning about your exotic species and how to protect them. So that's going to be a year 2 program. So that's kind of related to ours, but a separate programming. Mine is going to be the 2-year program at the that's going to be located at one of the 3 centers, and the zoo program is going to be a New Visions program that you have an opportunity to go to year 2.
I do want to pepper in about the New Visions program, that is a program that you apply to be in. And there will be an information night if anyone is interested. I believe it's scheduled for January 27th. So you can mark that on your calendar. There's going to be more information going out about that. But again, that's for your senior year. It's a 1-year program that you apply for. Ms. Tuzzolino's class for animal science begins in your junior year. So, and it's a 2-year program, just to make sure we're all there.
Mhm.
Anybody else? Any other questions? I have one other question, even if it's
Yes.
the last one. So, Ms. Tuzzolino, you talked a lot about bringing dogs in. We saw some cats. What about animals like reptiles? Do we ever feature reptiles or any birds, things like that?
Absolutely. Well, the avian unit is one of my favorite units, and so we have the avian unit. Yes, we have birds. I bring in Prince, my cockatiel that's in. We had a student bring in her macaw as well. We absolutely do a reptile unit. We do reptile and amphibians in the classroom. I've had bearded dragons, leopard geckos. We've had snakes. We've had tarantulas. We've We've had pretty much everything that you can imagine, right in the classroom. And yes, we deal with exotics. We have an avian unit, chinchillas. That's a unit. We do have the rodents. So we do hamsters, gerbils, rats. That's part of our lab animal science. And equine, farm animal rotation, canine, feline. There's pretty much every single animal that you can imagine that you can imagine.
You do it all.
Yeah, we do it all.
Awesome.
That's
Well,
the
we're
thing
just-
that in the animal science program we like to joke about with the doctors, that they have it easy. They only have 1 species to learn, but in the veterinary industry we have hundreds.
Right.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mrs. Tuzzolino. Our time for animal science is up.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye, Penny. The
Bye.
sweetest dog in the world. So up next, we are